When many people think of Shakespeare, they envision an esoteric script. In reality, a Shakespearean production makes use of costuming, props, and conventions of the theater to be accessible to audiences of all education.
Costumes.
The Elizabethan costumes were used during the Elizabethan era. Everybody's fabrics and clothes were dictated by their rank, status, or position, not by wealth. It was illegal to wear various items of clothing. The men only wore the clothes that they were allowed to wear. The nobility wanted to maintain the elite class, but also wanted to enjoy the theater's entertainment. The materials were luxurious and covered a variety of colors. Elizabethans were not able to wear the latest fashions. The Elizabethan people understood the meaning of different colored clothing. Nearly every color had its own meaning, and the audience understood these meanings. Most people would recognize that purple was associated with royalty. The colors conveyed an enormous amount of information. The materials and fabrics had similar effects. The fabric and color of the clothing would indicate the role of the character that a person was playing. Nobles and upper classes wore clothing made of velvets, furs, silks, lace, cottons, and taffeta.
Shakespeare's plays use clothing representative of the era. If one of Shakespeare's plays was set in modern day, a cathedral high school uniform might be the costume. Most costumes were given or tailored. Elizabethan clothing was very intricate. Many independent parts were tied or sewn together. Although costumes that were used at the Globe Theatre were the same as the average outfit worn by the civilians, the costumes still had an impact on how the audience perceived the plays. Clothing in Shakespearean time reflected a person's status, so in the plays, the costumes would reflect their character's status. Due to a lack of props, costumes would be used as the most important element of getting the story across. The colors, materials, and styles of the Globe Theatre costumes conveyed an enormous amount of information as soon as the actor walked onto the stage. Gold, silver, crimson or scarlet, deep indigo blue, violet colors, and even deep black and pure white colors were only worn by the highest nobility in the land. As soon as a character walked, the fabric and color of his clothing would indicate the role of the character he was playing. For instance, the costume made of velvets, furs, silks, or lace would be instantly recognized as a member of the upper class. Cottons and taffeta would indicate a much lower status. Props.
The props used in Shakespeare's plays were not fake. Weapons, armors, food, and drink were all real. This made realistic scenes possible. Sometimes animal bladders would be worn underneath actors' costumes. These could be pierced to create bloody special effects. Another way that props were used to improve the productions is entrances. Trap doors and false ceilings in the Globe Theatre enabled dramatic entrances and exits as well as a way to bring props on and off stage.
Conventions of the theater.
In Elizabethan times, the actors were all males. This was because the idea of having women on stage was unthinkable by audiences. Instead of the female roles were played by young men with high voices. These boys trained as women actors until they had deeper voices and could play male roles. The fourth wall is an imaginary wall at the front of the stage. With this, the actors pretend that they cannot hear or see the audience. Actors in Shakespeare's time would break the fourth wall by running through the audience, making jokes to the audience, and sitting in the audience and making the audience hold props. Actors sometimes have to break the fourth wall to connect with the audience.
An actor changing costume during or in between scenes can make it clear to the audience that something about the character or setting has changed.